collection. So Black Panther had a series in the Classified, which was like JLA Classified, just a sort of an extra book. Each arc told, Hi, do you like the JSA and the Justice League? If so, this is the video for you. My name is Glenn Simpson, and I have collected comics for over 40 years, and I'm showing off my collection one box at a time. Today, we're looking at box number 91. It starts off with JSA. We get into some Juggernaut, some jungle action, and we will end up with some Justice League. So it's going to be a good time. I'm so glad you're here. Let's get started on box 91 for Glenn Simpson's Comics. All right, so as we start box 91, this is actually we're getting into the second half of the collection, the main sort of, floppies, long boxes part of the collection. So for those of you who are watching the whole thing, God bless you. We are halfway there. I've got a few things I'm going to do after we get to box 180, but let's get going with box 91 here. So we start off where we picked off with JSA. We've got Jay Garrick here dealing with Rival, which is sort of a reverse Flash before there was a reverse Flash. His version of Reverse Flash from JSA 17. And we jump to 24. So this JSA series had sort of started with just Hawkgirl. Kendra Saunders. We had not seen Hawkman at all. I think the last time we saw him was the end of the John Ostrander Hawkman series. So this is bringing him back, and he's coming back kind of as just a merger of Thanagarian and Carter Hall kind of stuff. So issue 24 right there. This has also got Onamar Sin. He'll turn up a lot, and he's kind of a big bad for Thanagar there. Because we got halfway through the collection, I moved my whole table and everything that I do these presentations on, so that's why everything looks, probably the intro looks different and things like that. The lighting may be a little different, and I'm having to think about where things are. Anyway, we got issue 25. So, Carter and Kendra getting it on. At this point, the assumption is that Kendra is just a full-on, regular reincarnation of Shiera, and that they're meant to be together, and later we'll find out that's not necessarily the case. 28, we've got Roulette. She's kind of got I think she's a daughter of the Gambler, and she is the classic Justice Society villain, and she's in here causing some problems for this new edition of the JSA. I believe she showed up in the Stargirl TV show. We've got JSA 29, part of the Joker Last Laugh. We just actually talked about that a couple of videos ago. Joker finds out he's dying, so he's going around and jokerizing a bunch of villains and things, and that includes Solomon Grundy. We got JSA 32. So you have Johnny Thunder, who was the original owner of the Thunderbolt back in the 40s. And you have Jakeem Thunder, who is now the current owner, and they wind up resolving. Poor Johnny. He's old, and they find a really sweet solution for him. So there you go. 33. Got original Sandman, who has passed away, actually, versus Sandy, or Sand, as he's going now. There. Got 40. We've got some ugliness with the new Dr. Midnight there. 41. So Shazam winds up joining the team here, which is kind of funny. So in the current continuity, he's a relatively new hero who had nothing to do with, the JSA or anything like that. In the classic comics, he was around in the 1940s, but was still not, he was owned by a different company back then. So bringing him into the JSA has some meaning in a meta sense, but within the stories themselves, it's just kind of like, well, sure, yeah, if you want to join, come on. And of course, he's dealing with Black Adam, although it looks like they've made something of a truce there, and Black Adam will end up, I think, joining the JSA later as he tries to redeem himself. We've got some more. We got some Princes of Darkness. I believe this was a crossover with the Hawkman book that had started since we had the return of Hawkman here. It's like this series has lots of things spin off from this book. 49. Continuing, we've got more Drew with the Helmet of Fate. We've got a Obsidian, kind of been mind controlled or something to that effect. We've got Eclipso, for whom darkness is his thing as well. So lots of storylines about darkness here in this JSA series. Then we're going to jump to 56. We've got Black Rain, I think this is another crossover with Hawkman, or maybe the other one wasn't. I don't know, but we've got the Black Adam kind of making a power move here. We got Eclipso back, kind of a different kind of Eclipso, and I don't think that's regular Hawkman, but we've got Al Rothstein, the new Atom Smasher, who's kind of, he winds up believing in what Black Adam is selling there. So you get some internal civil war kind of within the group there. So 56, which kind of is why Atom Smasher shows up in the Black Adam movie. 57, continuing the Black Rain crossover. This is all Jeff Johns writing, of course, but best known for his Green Lantern work. 64. So we have, all right. So we have the return of a Sandman. This is the outfit originally worn by Garrett Sanford, who was technically the second Sandman. The first being, first in comics, if you will, being, of course, Wesley Dodds, who was the senior partner of Sand that we were talking about earlier, where Sandy was his sidekick. And then after the war, Jack Kirby created this series of a new Sandman, who was a guy who kind of lived in a dream world and would appear in our world every once in a while. And then then we got they wound up bringing that concept back, and Hector Hall, who was the son of the Hawkman, became the new Sandman. And then we got to this series, and Sand is kind of going to become the new Sandman really soon. And we've had Neil Gaiman introducing his Sandman. So just lots of bringing the different concepts together and weaving them together here. Issue 64 of that. I'm not actually sure who that is in the specific costume there. I forget. All right, 65. We've got a little team up of the 3 Owlmen. Speaking of multi-generational sorts of things, we've got, I always get their names mixed up, Rex Tyler, the 1940s hero, who is, he's thought to be dead, but he's actually living in a little pocket of time. You have Rick Tyler, his son, and then you have, I don't know if he ever took on a regular name, but Tyler, just Tyler, the Owlman who's an android in the 850-something century, from the 1 Million storyline. So, who is the one who rescued Rex? So we got a little multi-generational thing going on. This maybe we will find out, where Rick finds out his father is still accessible. 71, we've got the Atom coming back, and things aren't going well between him and Atom Smasher. Then we get into some Alex Ross covers for JSA, and we've got this version of the team, which with original Atom, it's a little confused. It's a confusing look. We got a mixture of the different, well, that makes sense because it's Per Degaton, whose whole thing is time travel. So you got a mixed team of 1940s and current members of the team together there. 76, got this sweet Alex Ross painted cover of Mr. Terrific. There was a little run here that's what he was doing for each issue. His covers had nothing to do with the actual internal of the story. He just was doing a beauty shot of each character. So this run around 76, or maybe go back a few and go a few forward, if you're just really wanting beauty shots of the JSA, that's what you want. And of course that one was Mr. Terrific. This one is you got your Alan Scott right there with his Alex Ross beauty shot. And from one great artist to the next, here around the late 80s or early mid 80 numbered issues, we have George Perez coming in to do some covers for JSA. Paul Levitt's classic Justice Society writer, also Legion of Superheroes writer. Rags Morales, known for drawing Identity Crisis, some things like that. Issue 83. Issue 84. Got the whole team going up against Gentleman Ghost. This is part of the 1 year later thing. After Identity Crisis, the whole DCU just sort of jumped forward a year, and just everything, all the storylines were as they would have been. Then they would go back and kind of gradually explain how they got to that point. There. And then the series ends with issue 87. There. Had an annual from the year. All the annuals were Planet DC, where they introduced heroes of other countries, and you have Nemesis. This is probably like the third character named Nemesis from Greece. And we have the current, as of this recording, JSA series. So there were a few other Justice Society series that we will see, but they were Justice, spelled out. They've only just recently done another series here where it is just the initials. So, and this has been pretty good. Issue 1 right there. Jeff Lemire doing the writing on this. Issue 1. Issue 4 there. Bringing back, so I don't remember the last time we saw the Peter Cross Dr. Midnight, but since the and I forget her name, but since the female African-American Dr. Midnight kind of got used in the Stargirl TV show, I think that's why they wanted to focus on bringing her back. She had died over in the Eclipso series. Look for that video, alphabetically speaking, Eclipso. And but of course, with all the hijinks of Rebirth and all that, she came back. So Cully Hamner doing the art here. So that's the Dr. Midnight we are rolling with right now. And unfortunately, though, because she was always Midnight spelled out normally, but you know, she's going back to using what Dr. McNider originally used, the abbreviation. Got issue 5. Got Kid Eternity, a classic, I think Quality Comics character, maybe, or Fawcett. I know he teamed up. There was one that teamed up with the Fawcett characters, but for some reason I have it in my head that was kind of weird that he wasn't really originally a Fawcett character. So either Fawcett or Quality. But it's a person who is dead, but they survive as a ghost, but they can also bring back in physical form heroes of the past to help them out for X number of seconds, you know, a minute or whatever, 5 minutes, whatever. But one cool thing they did here is there have been lots of versions, and usually when they have the versions, it's just, they were just rebooting it, kind of. They were just, you know, with post-Crisis and post-Infinite Crisis and blah, blah, blah. And what they did here was they established that there have been multiple versions, even though coincidentally a lot of them had the same name. But anyway, so it wasn't just complete reboots, that it was... you know, they all kind of coexist to some degree. Even there was like one that just appeared in a one shot, and that was it. But hey, they was in there. Then we got issue 8 of that right there. Kind of a old school version of the cover there. And we've got 9, continuing their current storyline. They're basically fighting a bunch of their own villains. And through issue 12, we've got also the return of Yolanda Montez, who was the second Wildcat. So we kind of got, we lost some of the, well, we'll see them, well, I guess we would have seen them. We'll see them in the Justice Society of America book, some of the legacy versions, and that came along sort of more recently, and they're kicking it back to the ones that were like immediately either pre-crisis or post-crisis. That's issue 12. Alright, so now we get to some JSA other things. JSA All-Stars, little mini-series that was going on around the same time, or while some of the other stuff was going on. Got John Cassidy cover there. Issue 1 of that. Issue 4. Kind of each one showing the legacy version and the modern version. And as again we see here with Owlman, and culminate with sort of the whole team. Actually, they're flipping the script there. We got the new ones in the back and the old ones in the front here. Then there was another JSA All-Stars series that was more of it took place at the same time as the regular JSA series, but it was sort of the younger members of the team splitting off and doing their own thing. There was a little bit of a schism there. So we've got Stargirl and what does she go by? She's the granddaughter of the Red Tornado, the original Red Tornado. We got Atom Smasher and Judo Master and the King. So some of the concepts that were brought in were some Golden Age stuff that hadn't actually been seen in a while. And we've got Magog, who was invented in the Kingdom Come series, and as a sort of, at that time, future, young, rebellious superhero. And so he started being brought into the regular current modern day continuity as if they were going to work their way into Kingdom Come. So issue 1, issue 3, Magog getting punched in the face. Kind of deserves it. Issue 4, for some reason, is selling for, $15, something like that. The only thing I could think of, I don't see any. There's nothing I see listed it for its, key value, but I think this might be where it's a place where sand becomes more like takes on the Sandman identity. I don't know, but anyway. People are paying a little more for that one. Or it could be a glitch in the price guide. So, issue 5 there. Issue 8. Issue 9. 12. I need to go back and read this again because there was actually some really interesting stuff going on here, and some different new characters created and things like that. It wasn't just all legacy stuff. Cyclone, there you go, and her pet monkey, her pet winged monkey. 13. And through the last issue, which is issue 18. So then the next item on the agenda is JSA Classified, which was like JLA Classified, just a sort of an extra book. Each arc told a different. Sometimes it wasn't the full team. A lot. In fact, JSA Classified really did a lot of individual storylines. This one is a popular book, not necessarily for the insides, but for the outsides here. Got Adam Hughes, and this is not a variant. This is the main cover. But if you care about the insides, it's about Power Girl kind of realizing that her history doesn't make sense, because she is actually from the original Earth 2 that was deleted in the Crisis on Infinite Earths. She is a survivor of it, but when she arrived on the this new merged Earth, her memories were changed so that she didn't remember that, because nobody remembered. With a couple of tiny exceptions, nobody remembered those old Earths, and so she spent some time thinking that she was a magical granddaughter of Orion, of Atlantis, and some things like that. But she realizes here that she's not, that none of that is true, and so she's trying to figure out who the heck is she. It's beautiful art by Amanda Connor and Jimmy Palmiotti that goes through. So good stuff. And at one point, she thinks that she might be a member of the Legion of Superheroes. And so she encounters them. And eventually, I believe she figures out the truth, that she is the last survivor of a parallel world that just no longer exists. We've got issue 12 with Green Lantern solo there. Now, we will go through these got some fairly thick packs because there's not a lot of groundbreaking, key-oriented stuff here. JSA 13, some more of that Green Lantern versus Vandal Savage, but it is a lot of good reading. Issue 20, JSA back with, so now, yes, this is back when the main Dr. Midnight was Peter Cross. There. He's getting an issue or two to himself. 21. Got a solo Hawkman story done entirely by Walt Simonson, famous for his Thor work. I don't know if his solo book was out at this point or not. Can't remember. 07. Let's see. We've got Jakeem Thunder, exploring his life with having the Thunderbolt genie at his beck. Got a Mr. Terrific, couple of issues. He's got an enemy, Mr. Horrific, so a player on the other side, as it were. 36. We've got Wildcat. Wildcat got a lot of. I think he shows up here a lot. Wildcat is a weirdly popular character for somebody that has never had his own book, and is generally forgotten. He did show up in the most recent book. So 36. But he's one of the last surviving members of the original kind of team too. 37 there through 39. Here we go. That's the last of JSA Classified. Then we have JSA Liberty Files, the Whistling Skull. So there had been a miniseries called Liberty Files. I don't remember if I have that or not. I guess we'll see. And so this is the sequel to that. The original one didn't have JSA on the front of it, and this one does. But it's only kind of tangentially, only slightly connected with the JSA. It's really about these other two superhero kind of sorts that are going through. It's drawn by Tony Harris, known for the Starman series, issue 1 through issue 6, right there. JSA was around during the time of the Our Worlds at War. The alien race comes and invades the Earth, and we have to fight them off, and the whole Earth and all the superheroes have to get together to do that. So lots of one-shots for each person's participation. Alright, so JSA, Secret Files, and Origin. So one odd bit here is this came out before the JSA book. And in fact, this is the first appearance of Kendra Saunders as Hawkgirl and Al Rothstein as Atom Smasher. It's not his first appearance at all. He is, of course, the former Nuklon of Infinity Inc. with his red mohawk that he let grow out. But they had, most of the time you didn't have a Secret Files and Origin for a series before you had the series, but this time you did. And this is where the origin, and you get the first, view of those. And this was really exciting at the time. Because it was, deep, kind of deep lore. So really enjoyed that. Got Starman from the Starman series. And then they actually got a second Secret Files and Origins, once the series was well underway. Right there. We've got JSA Strange Adventures, kind of a flashback to the World War II era. And I believe Kevin J. Anderson is a novelist. And this is trying to give it a pulp feeling. That's issue 1 through issue 6. These beautiful painted covers there. Got JSA versus Cobra. 6 issues of the team specifically in a fight with Cobra. Cobra is both a guy and an organization. Cobra started off in the early 70s as a series about a guy who figures out that his twin brother that he didn't know about is the head of this international terrorist organization. And they have kind of that Siamese thing where if one feels what the other one is feeling, so they can't kill each other, but because the other one will die or whatever. And then the actual brother kind of, we never heard of, he left after a while. Jason Burr and his brother Aaron Burr, if I remember, not Aaron Burr. That's what's his name. But anyway, But Cobra as a, organization kind of got brought back over. I mean, I don't know if this was the first time, but over in the Batman and the Outsiders series. And so they've been around as, just sort of generic bad guys all over the place. Issue 1 through issue 6 of that. So if you're a Mr. Terrific fan, by the way, you want to get all up in these modern, JSA and Justice Society of America series, because if you discovered him, in the movie, Superman movie, and you want to read more, this is where you want to go. All right, and now for something kind of different. So we have J2. So why is this alphabetically here? As I've mentioned in some other videos, anything with a number is treated as if the number is spelled out. So JS, JSA, and then JT, JTWO, J2. And J2 is a story of, it's in the Spider-Girl universe where she's the daughter of Spider-Man. He's the son of the Juggernaut, and he has his own adventures. Spider-Girl by far being really the only one that lasted for a while, but this guy gets to have his own series, and he's kind of grungy, from that time frame. The thing about these Marvel Comics 2 is that they didn't set them in a like future where they had new technologies and all that kind of stuff. It's as if, you know, they're set in the present and all of the previous stuff happened in the past. So the sliding timeline kind of slides back, if you will. So that really it's not about creating a world, a future world. It's just about the characters themselves. So anyway, J2, number 1 through number 4. He's not raised by his father. He doesn't know his father, but he's finding out about who his father is. We've got kind of a next generation Doctor Strange. There you go. Got he fights here. He's going to fight another person who winds up with her own book. She's a wild thing, and she is the daughter of Wolverine and Elektra. So she has these sort of claws that look like Psy. So crossing there, you know, that's clever. Issue 5 through issue 8 right there, which I believe, no, that's not, okay. And you got this female, something called Sabreclaw, female Magneta thing. Got going up against Big Julie, the gangster gorilla, in issue 9. And the whole shebang ending with issue 12. Now, the Spider-Girl would continue on, and she would get canceled, and there would be these huge letter-writing campaigns to bring it back, and they would bring it back for a while, and then they would cancel it, and there'd be a huge letter-writing campaign. Apparently, poor J2, he did not get the that kind of push. Then we have a couple of really, I love it when things are alphabetical and it's just coincidental. So Juggernaut, which is the next, coincidentally, the next book there. So just a one-shot for Juggernaut right there. And then there's another Juggernaut one-shot, which was part of the 8th Day, which actually was a storyline that ran through a few different books. And I think it was like, so if Sidorak is one of the big mystical forces in the universe, then and Juggernaut is his representative on Earth, then all of those other forces were, you know, creating similar, including this guy with a really big head, creating their own versions of Juggernaut, and the heroes have to deal with that. Alright, moving from Juggernaut to Jungle Action. So Black Panther had a series in the mid to late 70s running in Jungle Action. We got issue number 19, which is of course notable for him fighting what is clearly the Ku Klux Klan there here in, this is 1976 or so, should be. So it's, you know, there's still a certain amount of racism going on. Let's see, 19, issue 20. I think this might be a reprint or something, because it's pretty generic kind of cover there. Yeah, because issue 21 they pick back up with the story. Just ran into a deadline on the other one. there, 21. Got 22. It's the first appearance of the Soul Strangler. If you're a big Soul Strangler fan, make sure to have this. Be sure to get this issue, Jungle Action 22. 23. Another new cover. Another alternate. I don't know. Just something about that screams reprints me. And 24. Got a Gil Kane cover. Black Panther versus Wind Eagle. Wind Eagle from that long tradition of no pants heroes. I really like his suit, generally speaking, but except for the whole no pants thing, that's a little weird. But issue 24. I believe from there he goes on to the Black Panther series by Jack Kirby. I don't have the originals of, but we looked at some of that in that appropriate video. Check that out. All right, so next we have, I picked up a few of these Jungle Girl issues for, you know, clearly the reason. Frank Cho for his Good Girl art there. So that's the Jungle Girl, Dine from Zero, issue number 0. Got issue number 1 right there. I could probably package these up, but so hey, bonus, you get to see all of them. 1 and 2 right there. So that completes the jungle. Should have said welcome to the jungle. Sorry, forgot about that. But now we start Justice. So first of all, obviously we're beginning with all things that start with Justice, and there's about 6 boxes worth of Justice things. Justice this, Justice that, Justice the other thing. Here we start with the book just called Justice. From Marvel's New Universe. The New Universe was Marvel's way of, it was a new line. It starts off kind of more realistic, and then it becomes, really goes off the rails, but it was, you know, the idea was it would take the place of all their original characters, but it really never even got close. And Justice was about a sort of an alien from another dimension who comes here, and he is a policeman, and he can shoot zap beams with one hand and a shield with another. And then later on, spoilers, they find out that he's really just a normal human being, or he's from Earth. He has superpowers, but all of that background of being an alien is just all in his head. So that's issue 1 through issue 4 right there. Issue 5 through issue 8. Caught by the regular police. Issue 9, Keith Giffen and Jeff Isherwood cover there. Issue 12 there. Issue 13. 16. So right about this time, they're kind of getting things reorganized, and yeah, he knows he's not, he knows he's not an alien, but he still has the powers, and he still wants to get out there and, fight crime or whatever. So gets a new suit. 16. 17. Does not have the power to fly. Through 20. There. 21. Is there any justice? 24. Lee Weeks art. Go on to do lots of other stuff. 25. Somewhat of amusing. This character was somewhat amusing. He was a very snarky mercenary character. 28. His daughter fell ill or got hurt or something. 29. So Psi-Force is another one of the series, so there's a little crossover there. And 32, number 32 in a 32 issue limited series. Several of them canceled at 32. There. So then we have another version of Justice, and I picked this up at a dollar box. So I have the first half of this Justice by Alex Ross series in a trade paperback, I don't know, I might sell this one and get, just get the trade paperback for the second half or whatever, but for now I have the one issue in here of, this was it's almost a throwback to the classic Super Friends cartoon. It's Alex Ross doing the DC heroes in a very classic form, with the fighting the Legion of Doom, which is with all those characters in their classic form, and the Legion gets the upper hand on the Justice League, but eventually the Justice League finds their way back. So if you love Alex Ross, that's a great series. I recommend. Then another Justice. There's an actual Justice for Balance. That's why it's there. Sometimes it just gets listed as Justice, but this is the character from the New Warriors with telekinetic powers, Vance Astrovic. It's kind of a spin-off, if you will, of the Guardians of the Galaxy, but not the one from the movies. And he gets his own 4-issue miniseries here. So, also of note, he's each of the there's 3 or 4 miniseries for members of the New Warriors, and each of them is for something. There's a Night Thrasher one that's for something, and I think I don't know, maybe there's just the 2, but I see what they were doing there. They were getting cute. So issue 1 through issue 4 there. He's kind of fighting himself, past version of himself. Don't know if that's literal or figurative. As I always say, I've read all my comics. That doesn't mean I've read them twice or that I remember what the heck happened. Justice Inc. is a property. It's a very old, kind of like the Shadow classic pulp era property about a guy who's kind of a mercenary and He, stops bad guys and things. And this was me kind of giving it a shot with Andrew Helfer writing and Kyle Baker drawing. 2-issue Prestige series from DC, issue 1 and issue 2 right there. I did not develop a taste for it. Alright, so begins the Time of Justice League. So we have the classic Justice League of America series, and then that ends around the time of the Crisis on Infinite Earths. It still mostly happened post-Crisis, with some differences. That's neither here nor there. So, but it disbands, and then the events of the Legends miniseries happen, and that inspires certain heroes to band together as a new version of the Justice League, and just to reflect the fact that they weren't just of America anymore. It was more of an international organization, or their jurisdiction wasn't just America. They dropped the of America from the title. And this is written by Keith Giffen and J.M. DeMatteis, art by Kevin Maguire and Terry Austin. And this came in with a healthy dash of humor that you hadn't seen in previous versions. And it became known as the Bwahaha League because just characters would laugh so much, and that was the way that their laugh would be spelled out. It was where we really got a lot of development for the Guy Gardner character, and for the modern version of Martian Manhunter. And it starts off in this issue that's just called Justice League. So that is issue 1 through issue 3. They go to Russia and deal with some armored protectors of Russia, the Rocket Reds. There is I believe, an early version of a variant cover of this cover it's got a different look to it and a different logo in the corner. I don't know what the story is behind that, but then Booster Gold, who had been introduced shortly after the Crisis, gets the opportunity to join the League, and that is where he meets Blue Beetle, and a friendship is developed that continues to this day. So that's issue 4 through issue 6. This creature called the Gray Man possessing the various heroes. Now, here's one of those times where doing it alphabetically can get confusing, but I did stick to alphabetically. So Justice League goes from Justice League to Justice League International with issue 7. But of course we have other things, many other things, that we're going to stick with just things named plain Justice League for a while. But they had an annual right there. Bill Willingham of Elementals doing some DC work on that annual. So really, in terms of things that are titled just plain Justice League, the next one was in the New 52, and that series starts, and then all of the New 52 issues after about a year get a 0 issue, and this is, I believe, maybe not. Maybe can't remember. They introduced the new Shazam in this series in backup stories. I just don't remember if this is where they start or this is where they finish, or just, you know, it's all just Shazam. But in this series is where they introduced the new version of Shazam, where Billy, which is the first time that Billy has like many foster, you know, siblings as seen in the movies and things like that. That's issue 0. But then we have issue 1. Now, word on the street is that this series was originally going to just be the next Justice League series after, you know, before they decided to do the New 52. So the next arc, we'll see in a second, was going to be the first arc that was going to be in there, because it was, you know, just getting everybody. It was all members who had been members before, so it wasn't any big deal. And then they decided to do the New 52, and so Jeff Johns had to quickly write an origin story for the new league. So in the New 52, whereas most of the titles take place about 5 years in, this only, you know, takes place about a year after Superman, Batman, etc. get started. But it's where a lot of people got their start. Cyborg as an original member in this version, issue 1 through issue 4. Right there, of course, nobody knows each other at this point. They're just kind of getting to know each other. In the new history of the DCU, this is considered to still be an initial get-together of these heroes, but maybe not with it ending with them forming the team just yet. It's issue 5 through issue 8. So we've jumped forward to the present. Yes, so as I said, Shazam backups, Green Arrow being considered for membership, or him not considering him, or wanting to be a member, or not wanting to be a member. Issue 9 there. So issue 12, this is this is regular issue 12. So in this new continuity, Superman is wide open and Wonder Woman are wide open to a relationship with each other. And they give that a try. Issue 13. There's also a little bit of an issue where Jeff Johns was writing Wonder Woman over here in Justice League, but Brian Azzarello was writing Wonder Woman in her own book, and there were some things that weren't really jiving up between them. But that's the New 52 for you. Issue 13, Cheetah. Issue 20, Battling Despero. Gene Ha art. 21. Got more of a focus on Shazam. At some point after his origin finishes, then he kind of meets the Justice League and joins, I think. Issue 21. So 24, we have got the return of the crime syndicate from Earth 3. So they are where all the good guys are bad guys, and so they are turning up. That's the plot of this Forever Evil storyline. We took a little break there between 23 and 24 to do a few of these .1 issues. This was all on this sort of 3D looking material. Big deal at the time. They didn't have enough material to fill all the orders, and orders were allocated, and it was a big stink. But issue 23.1, they basically all retold the origins of villains and things. 23.1 is for Darkseid. I don't know that this was actually a origin that they kept. And 23.4, an origin for a secret society of supervillains. There. Getting back to the main plot. Issue 25. We have a crime syndicate. They wind up catching catching Nightwing, capturing him, revealing his secret identity to the world, and that would lead to him no longer being Nightwing, and lead into the Grayson series, where he's a secret agent. And as part of his being a secret agent there, they use their technology to make everybody forget that Dick Grayson was Nightwing, so that protects Batman's secret and all that good stuff. 29, we are still forever eviling. We got the Metal Men, the robotic creatures that heroic robotic creatures who they figure out they could coat and thus better strengthen the various members of the Justice League. Got 30. So Lex Luthor comes along and says, I can help you stop these guys, but in return, I want to be a member of the Justice League. And they're like, all right. I think that's it. I think that was this one. 31. So, for you Green Lantern Jessica Cruz fans, this is her first appearance. She gets the ring that was previously the ring of the Power Ring, which is the name of the Green Lantern from the Earth 3 universe, and she becomes a good guy with it, and then later joins the regular Green Lantern Corps. 32. There you go. Lex Luthor, he knows all the secrets. And 36. This is a Lego variant from the month when all the books had a variant cover. It was, what if the characters were Lego figures? There you go. And that is all for this box. Okay, so that's box 91. Next time we'll get into box 92, where we will do some more Justice League, and eventually get into Justice League Dark. Thanks so much for being here. Please like and comment and subscribe so you'll know when I put up the next video. If there's anything you'd like to see that was inside any of these packs, or in this or in any of my videos, just comment and let me know, and we'll put together a video for you. But otherwise, I hope you have a great day.